Hey, welcome back, Knicks fans. It's been a while since I dropped the video, so thank you guys for checking back again with me. Knicks won two in a row. First time they won two in a row since October, so I'm really excited. So I was really motivated to drop a video today because of that. But there's a few things I wanted to talk about with the team too. They've been struggling quite a bit lately, and although we won two in a row, let's not get don't want to be too don't want to be deceived by the two game win streak because it's today's competition was really it's pretty much it wasn't a lot of NBA level talent on the court. They played hard. You want to definitely give a lot to them. These guys played why they played so well today. Meaning the Minnesota Timberwolves, the guys that they put out there. Overall, the Knicks did have a pretty good game. Everyone had a really good, in my opinion, had a pretty solid to good game, except for except for Julius Randle. Mitchell Robinson, he was 7 of 8, 14 points, 18 rebound, biggest guy out there, and he showed it. And that's really what you want to see, right? And honestly, it's been a little disappointing because he was a little this year, but he's put together some decent games lately. And but he's still got quite a bit of a way to go. I still think he's a little out of shape. As you see, he's been getting his shot blocked quite a bit. You saw one of his shot get blocked today when he was trying to. Although they called a foul and they overturned it actually, it was actually overturned, so it actually wasn't a foul. And so at one point he got his shot blocked today, and we've been seeing a lot of that this season. And so he still has a little bit of a way to go. The thing that was really disappointing about it is because Mitchell Robinson, I mean, he's obviously his whole life is playing basketball, and he gets paid a lot of money to play basketball. And so I knew from the interviews that Mitchell Robinson, he doesn't take his craft very seriously, at least the training part. And I think that's one of the reasons why even last year everybody was talking about Mitchell Robinson, everybody's worried about him from his shoulder up. And it's true, he just doesn't listen. Honestly, I may be sounding harsh, but it is the truth. So Mitchell Robinson, even he admitted before the season began, he doesn't listen to the trainers at all. And so the only reason he started lifting this year was because, he couldn't do anything else, right? Couldn't play basketball to stay in shape. And so all he could do was lift weights to stay in shape. And so he did that. But the other thing Mitchell Robinson did not do, he wasn't listening about, was basically eating. Like all NBA players have nutritionists and trainers that tell them exactly what they should eat. And especially given the fact that Mitchell Robinson had a foot injury, I'm pretty sure they had a diet designed just for Mitchell Robinson of what he should eat to keep his weight down to make sure he stayed lean. But Mitchell Robinson, I'm sure, didn't listen to any of that. Just did whatever he wanted to do. And so now it's going to take him, basically the whole season to get back into shape. However, he played a great game today, so I don't want this to be a whole cry fest about Mitchell Robinson being out of shape. And so I'm happy he played a great game today. I'm happy he took advantage of the fact that he's the biggest guy on the court. Played well on the defensive end as well. He erased a lot of mistakes that our wing defenders made. So it was really good to see that. RJ Barrett, I really liked the way he played in the fourth quarter. Struggled throughout the whole game, but the fourth quarter, he just came alive. This kid just has a clutch gene. And I'm like so back and forth with RJ Barrett. Some days I'm like, this kid just needs to prove to me that he's going to be a star by just making some layups, right? Because you don't see a lot of stars or players that are with star potential that miss layups. But RJ Barrett is a different case because for some reason when he gets in the paint, he doesn't get very good lift when he's in the paint, especially when he's driving to the basket. And so he tends to miss the shots. And like after today, seeing, how much of a clutch player he can be sometimes, I'm thinking, you know what, just let this kid keep taking the shots until he figures out how to make these layups, right, and figure out his angles. And so I really liked the game he had. He had very solid fourth quarter, and he really helped us win this game down the stretch. Evan Fournier had a pretty decent game as well on the defense and on the offensive end. Kemba Walker was only 3 of 11 today. However, all 10 points that he had were huge 10 points. None of it was garbage points. All the points that he scored was very crucial points in the game when we needed a basket, when the team was struggling really badly. He would basically come out and make a huge shot to either give us a little cushion or to give us back the lead. And so Kemba Walker actually had a very effective game. Quentin Grimes, 31 minutes, played more minutes, interesting, more minutes than RJ Barrett, and also more minutes than Evan Fournier. And so that's something we want to continue looking at. Quentin Grimes, prototypical 3-and-D player, he was very hot in the first half. But second half, he cooled off a lot. And so I think they're probably trying to see if Quentin Grimes is really, if he's ready to be a starter, right? And so obviously today, although he had a pretty solid game, he actually, in terms of being a starter, he kind of failed the test a little bit because he cooled off so much in the second half. Although the defense was so good and the defense was impactful even like in the second half and late in the fourth quarter. And so his defense is really what helped keep him in the game in the fourth quarter. And down the stretch, we even the coach even brought him back in for defensive purposes. And so I think they're really trying to see if Quentin Grimes can give them starter minutes. They definitely know he can give them that on the defensive end. I think they're really just trying to see if he can give it to them on the offense, right? Because a lot of these guys, there's some people these coaches are very smart. They know how to get the most out of their players. And so, for example, like Obi Toppin, maybe the coach feels like Obi Toppin, he can maximize production from Obi Toppin at maybe 15 to 17 minutes, right? And if you get much above 15, 17 minutes, maybe the production goes down. That one I'm not sure about. I don't totally believe that Obi Toppin one, but I think that's what a lot of coaches believe about some of these players. And so with Quentin Grimes, they're trying to give him more minutes just to see if he can give them starting minutes as an offensive player. They know he can give it to them as a defensive player, but an offensive player, they want to see how that goes. Taj Gibson played a good game, always in the right position all the times. But today, people driving to the basket, they were able to get some baskets over him. I mean, he tried his best. What is he, 36, 37 years old? So, he honestly, he really shouldn't be playing every game, but we really need him. And every time we call on him, he actually performs. 3 or 4 today, very productive. But on the defensive end, he was definitely in the right positions. But, a lot of the people driving to the basket, some of them did make some tough shots. There was a couple of tough shots that he had with Taj Gibson. Emmanuel Quickly, thought he played pretty solid game today. Emmanuel Quickly, again, I feel he's better off ball than he is on ball. However, we had him play some point guard minutes today, obviously because we only have Kemba Walker at the point, and definitely don't like seeing Alec Burks at the point much anymore. Maybe in spot minutes, Alec Burks is fine at the point, but I really don't like it. But Emmanuel Quickly's, so I feel like they should have played Emmanuel Quickly more. Kemba Walker averaged high 30s last week. I think even had a game, maybe he played 40 minutes. I don't know how sustainable this is. It's funny, I was complaining about the same thing with Derrick Rose when they kept playing him over 30 minutes a game. And you have to wonder how much longer is this going to last. Kemba Walker, I'm afraid that he may not even last a few weeks from now if they keep playing him 30-plus minutes. You really shouldn't play Kemba Walker really more than 25, 27 minutes a game. So once they get McGrimes back, they really should, just use McGrimes and to split minutes with Kemba Walker because it's going to be detrimental to the team if they continue to play Kemba Walker this many minutes. Alec Burks, solid game today. And so 2 of 4 from the field, 7 points. Let me look at his rebounds. He only had 2 rebounds today, but he played 16 minutes. So that's not too terrible. When he was playing starting point guard, he was terrible rebounding the ball. I mean, there was games where he only had 1 rebound, and he's played over 30 minutes. And so it's good that he's playing more of the off ball now. Sometimes he plays on ball, on the point guard. And it seems like Emmanuel Quickly kind of liked it. There's a couple of plays where Emmanuel Quickly actually asked Alec Burks to basically run the point because Emmanuel Quickly, I think he probably wanted to he wanted to get it, be able to get in position to get a shot off. And so I'm starting to have a feeling Manny quickly does prefer to play a little bit more off ball. He's going to do whatever the coach wants him to do because he's that much of a team player. But I think I think maybe he's starting to notice as well. He's just more comfortable playing off ball. Obi Toppin, I thought he played a great game. He made a couple of mistakes, and the coach pulled him just for like a couple of mistakes. So he only played 10 minutes. To me, that's just weird. I don't know why the coach is doing that. Julius Randle basically made a ton of mistakes today. He had 4 turnovers, gave up on the defensive end. Each of those 4 turnovers that Julius Randle had, he did not even run back on the defensive end to make sure the man that took the ball from him, he didn't even run back to try to defend the basket from the guy who took the ball from him. And then on top of that, there was other plays where he just gave up on as well, where one, he got caught on a pick and he just gave up. The guy in the corner, his man floated to the corner, had all day to shoot. It must have been I felt like it was like almost 2 seconds the guy had, from when Julius got caught in the screen, and he just kind of stopped. And so you can tell some of the, it could be a problem. And this is also, I feel like this is also a coach test problem, because there's some kind of weird politics coach is playing with Julius Randle. I don't understand. It kind of reminds me of the issue he had with Jimmy Butler in Minnesota. And it was one of the reasons why he was fired. And so you would think he learned his lesson from there. You can't put your eggs all, because like Julius Randle is supposed to be the best player on the team. You can't then basically put all your eggs in that basket and then let him do whatever he wants to do and not basically check him. Especially, you got to hold him accountable just like you hold everyone else accountable. And Julius Randle's been playing really bad basketball lately, and you can tell some of the veteran players are starting to lose respect for him. There was one point he tried to take the ball from out of bounds. Kemba Walker basically, I think he basically passed the ball to someone who's essentially a half court. Didn't even want to give it to Julius, who was wide open right next to him. He was like, nah. And he just basically gave it to, I think it was RJ Barrett he gave the ball to. And RJ gave him back the ball. But it's just like, because Julius is like out of pocket. And it's like, you can tell Evan is noticing it. Kemba Walker's noticing it. I know the young guys are noticing it too. But Kemba and Evan Fournier, you can just kind of tell sometimes they don't have very bad body language. They're not trying to show up their teammates. They don't try to show up Julius Randle. But sometimes you can just kind of look at them with some of the actions that they take, that they're kind of getting fed up with this dude because he is out of pocket. And funny enough, somebody earlier on a Nick of Time show I was watching earlier, they were saying that, Julius got his money. And so I think they're probably right. Julius got his money. Now he can basically, maybe he feels like he's got all the leverage. He can do whatever he wants. This dude is just like, he is playing like such a terrible basketball player. He's been a terrible leader this year. And I really hope for a lot, from Julius Randle. Very talented player. He can, in my opinion, he can dribble pretty well. He can dribble, pass, and shoot. But he doesn't know when to dribble. He doesn't know when to pass, and he doesn't know when to shoot. And it's like really embarrassing. And I hate to say he's a low IQ player. I don't like to say that, but he definitely doesn't feel. He has a terrible feel for the game. At one point, basically they made an adjustment where they were basically where you get the ball. So they got the ball to him in the middle of the zone where we had issues with the zone. He was wide open in the middle there. All you had to do is just take a jump shot. He dribbles the ball, lets the man come to him, and then he passes it out to the wing. And I think we got a shot clock violation on that. I mean, his feel for the game is terrible. The reason why we struggle in the zone is because if you notice, they only run a zone mostly when he's on a court. And he's just so terrible at it, because we're running the offense through him. They know he's not going to know what to do with the ball in that zone. And so it's just like, and so they keep running against us every time Julius is on the floor. And so, but the coach keeps playing him. The coach played him over 37 minutes today and played Obi Toppin 10 minutes. Julius Randle had a terrible game. It's like, why do you keep having these players bang their head up against the wall? It's like, I would say basically there's at least 35 35 of the plays that we ran today, I would say at least 35 of them ran through Julius Randle. And maybe like 8 to 10 plays were successful. That's a ridiculously low percentage, you know? It's like that's why the team that's why we didn't score over 100 points today. And so the coach really needs to figure this out. I'm not sure what he's doing with Julius Randle. Like I haven't criticized Thibodeau all year. I feel like he's a really good coach. He's a great coach. He's a good coach for us. But whatever the heck he's doing with Julius Randle, he needs to stop it and just nip that stuff in the bud. You know, if he doesn't do it, and if this season goes sour and we keep losing, and look, I was very optimistic about this team. I thought we were going to win at least 55 games because I really believed in the moves the front office made, and I also believed in the season that Julius Randle had last year. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen because there's two big reasons. Because Julius Randle, he's a big problem. You know, he's a really big problem. Like even though the two players we got doesn't fit him very well, right? Even if you feel like it doesn't fit him very well, great players find a way to adjust, right? And still find a way to play well, even if it's just them getting their numbers. Sometimes they'll even get their numbers at an efficient rate, shooting efficiently. But Julius Randle is not a very good player. You know, you can tell like he's really not a very good player because although we added play pieces that don't really fit the way he wants to play. I mean, I don't think he shot. Maybe there's like one or two games this season. Actually, you can count in one hand games that he shot over 50% this season. And so I'm pretty sure he hasn't shot over 50% in more than 5 games this season. And we've played like 35 games. And that's not a mark of a good player. So the other reason we've been struggling too, as well as like RJ Barrett, it's like we really thought he was going to take us another step up this year. But he's really still struggling making layups this year. And so because he's struggling finishing at the basket, it's like the coach is not going to continue to keep running play, have him be basically the secondary option or even really the third option because he just can't finish at the basket. You know, today we ended up like letting, the coach, he was aggressive in the fourth quarter and he played great and was able to make some baskets and make things happen. And he actually was one of the reasons we pulled this game out. However, it's like he's really struggling finishing at the basket. And so it's something that's a problem for the team. And so the combination of those two, and then of course the two new additions that we had, they're just really very horrible defenders. And it's kind of been a disaster. And so going forward, it's like once the competition starts to step up, and like let's say the players start to come back. I don't know how many much more games you're going to be able to win, and so there's a good possibility that we're not going to make the playoffs this year. And so when that happens, the front office is going to basically they're going to want answers. They're going to want to obviously they're going to do a postmortem to figure out exactly what happened. They're going to be passing judgments. They're going to pass judgments on players and also on the coach itself, and it's going to start with the coach. And the first thing they're going to say, Julius Randle, we signed Julius Randle. He had a terrible season. And they're going to be like, there's a bunch of terrible stuff that Julius Randle did on the court. What did the coach do about it? And so, Coach Thibodeau needs to really think about that. And whatever politics he's playing with Julius Randle, whatever politics he's playing in the organization, using, with Julius Randle as his centerpiece or as an asset in whatever. He sees him as an asset. Maybe he thinks like, as long as Julius Randle is in his corner, he's going to be fine. But nope, not if Julius Randle is having a terrible season. If Julius Randle playing terrible, there's nothing Julius Randle is going to be able to do to save him. Especially if they want to make changes. And so that's pretty much what I have. I'm really glad the Knicks won today. Everyone did play a pretty solid to good game, except for Julius Randle. Mitchell Robinson basically beasted out today because he was the biggest guy on the court. He did what he was supposed to do, given the talent he has, and love to see more of that. And so if you guys like the video, please comment below, like, and subscribe. What do you guys think is going on with Julius Randle? Why do you guys think Thibodeau is not holding him accountable? All right, why is he allowing him to play 37 minutes? Why do we keep banging our heads up against the wall and running the offense through Julius when basically the productivity is the efficiency is our offensive efficiency is extremely low when we're running it through Julius Randle? Why do we keep doing it? Comment below. Let me know what you think. And also hit that subscribe button and also give me a thumbs up. Thanks. Have a good night.